It's time to show you our Manuka Grape Harvest. That's up next. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you today. It's an early morning in July 2019. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to show you the harvest from our Manuka grapes. So these are black grapes. They're a very, very good sweet grape. We've done a video before on a tasting on this. I'll link it right here for you. So they're very, very good grapes. However, we prefer to make wine out of these grapes. So one of the things that we do here, we do cover all of our grapevines with netting. It's part of the design that we've worked into how we have our grapevines set up. Let's take a look and see why we do that. This here, you can see you got bird damage all over the place. So where birds can get in, you can see they really destroy your harvest. They've basically taken all of the grapes off of here. They've left a few raisins for us, which we don't mind. That'll actually help us with the winemaking. But you can see they just get every single ripe grape they possibly can. So obviously what we do is we go through and we net. In order to get a harvest off of these vines is we need to go ahead and get our netting off. So let's go ahead and do that now. So you can see, pretty simple, very easy to get that netting off. Now we've got several clusters in here, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and get the harvest done. You'll see Lori and I going through with clippers. I've talked about my Corona pruners before. I love these pruners. I mean, this is definitely an easy investment. They're like 20 bucks. We've got them in our Amazon shop, but fantastic pruners. We're gonna be using these today. And all we're gonna do is just go in and then clip off every single one of these little bundles of grapes. So one of the great parts about this grape, it's nice and dark. It's got a great dark pigment in the skin. Some of these will not be ripe, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that because it's still going to give us juice. And of course, the end goal for these guys is wine. So we're going to go ahead and get the harvest done. Let's see what kind of yield we're going to get off of these vines today. We have our harvest done for 2019. So we have two 5-gallon buckets full of Manuka grapes. So we've got a good mix of color in here. We've got some nice dark grapes with nice dense clusters. Also got some lighter ones. So you can see didn't really ripen quite as evenly as we're used to. However, they're gonna work fine for wine, which is its intended purpose. So next thing we need to do is we need to get these washed up, and we're gonna show you what we do as far as prepping these guys for wine. We're inside our kitchen, so all we're gonna do now is basically just kind of dunk these guys. The idea behind this, we're not trying to get these perfectly clean. What we're trying to do is get any dust and dirt off of these. So all we're gonna do is just kind of mash them around in the water, shake them off a little bit, up on the counter. So we're gonna go ahead and get these buckets done. Okay, so we're done with the washing. We've got all the grapes up here. We've got a lot of variation in color. We've got some that are almost completely green with some red, but for the most part, we've got red grapes here. That's what we were looking for, is red. Some nice dark black ones there. This will make a fantastic red wine when we're done. So we're gonna go ahead and give these a few hours, let them go ahead and air dry, and then we'll come back and show you what we do next. So it's been several hours. These have had a chance to dry out quite a bit. So now there's a couple things you could do. Obviously, you can go ahead and extract the juice from these grapes just the way they are. So you can crush them, do whatever you want to do to actually get the juice out of here. I've seen people use all kinds of interesting things to squash grapes. Obviously, old school, you'd use your feet. But what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to put these into freezer bags and freeze them first. One of the things that we've learned through the process of saving a lot of fruit off the farm is when you freeze these, they actually have a lot of juice that comes back out. It actually damages the cell walls and ruptures the cell walls. So they're actually a lot easier to get the juice out of once they're frozen. Plus it gives us the ability to work on our own time as far as when we want to go ahead and get the fermentation done. So we can do that at our leisure. So we really prefer to go ahead and freeze the grapes first. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just take the grapes off of the primary stem. What I'm I'm saving? I'm saving basically everything minus the stem. Some fully ripe grapes. I've got some completely dry raisins. I have some soft raisins, and I have some just damaged fruit. So the vast majority of this we are gonna save. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get the grapes off of these little vines and get them into colanders and then into Ziploc bags. We've got the stems removed from several of the clusters. So you can see what's really nice, especially with these Manukas, they come off of the stems very, very easily. So you can see I have very few where I've got a little tiny bit of stem left. Not really concerned about that in here, because obviously we'll be crushing these and doing all that great stuff. Pretty straightforward, but we are specific as far as how far we fill these. So what's nice about these colanders is they're very easy to take the grapes from the colander and put them into a Ziploc. What I'm looking for is I want to fill the Ziploc to about, I'm going to say about 2/3 of the way. So I'm going to take a couple more handfuls here. And what I do is I seal it almost completely, and then I'm going to lay it down. So I lay these down flat, squeeze out the air. I want to make sure I can get a nice flat bag so that we can actually stack these in the freezer. We've still got a long way to go, a lot more grapes that we need to process, so we're gonna do that now. So we're done. So it took us about an hour and 15 minutes to go through and get all of those grapes removed from the stems, and we now have 9 1-gallon Ziploc bags full of grapes. We totaled all the weight. We have just over 38 pounds of grapes here, so real interested to see how much wine that's gonna make. Now we need to get these into the freezer. Let's go check that out. Here we are in the garage. Now, of course, we are a functioning farm here, so we raise livestock and we raise fruits and veggies, so we have multiple freezers. This is our largest freezer. It's typically where we keep a lot of our meats frozen. However, we've already done some harvesting this year, so let's go ahead and take a peek and see how we stack these things in here. We already have a harvest of our flame grapes, which is the larger stack there, and then our Thompson grapes. So we have kind of a rose wine that we'll be shooting for and a white wine. Both of those are also table grapes, very, very good fresh eating grapes, but it's one of the reasons now, as you can see, why we package these the way they do. They stack in here nice and neatly, very easy for us to store. I wanted to keep all of the bags separate. We learned this the hard way when it came to freezing meats, is you want to make sure that you give the freezer enough ability to completely freeze everything inside each one of your bags. So that'll make it very easy for us to come back at any time. So when we're ready to take our next step, which of course would be processing the grapes into grape juice. But that's next time. You know, something a little bit different for those of you who follow us on a regular basis, but those of you who are just here with us to watch us actually turn eating grapes or table grapes into wine, really glad that you're here and really hope that you'll join us for the rest of this series. So just want to thank you for joining us today. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Questions and comments in the comment section down below. Instagram and Facebook, we post content there you won't see here on the YouTube channel. And our Amazon page, I'll leave a link down in the description. We do have winemaking supplies in there, but a free and painless way to help support the channel is to start your Amazon shopping there. Doesn't matter what you buy, if you start with that link, you help to support us here. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you. We have the netting off so you can see pretty.
You're not plugged in.
Yeah. So you can see I like to talk to myself.
I'm like, wait a minute, something's wrong.
Yeah, something's wrong.